Detroit is different here. Definitely with BuyDetroit's passport to procurement with the visionary of all of this. Keyra, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Khary. How are you?
Everything is cool, and thank you so much for having us in this mix. We're talking Detroit, we're talking small business, we're talking energy, and as so many people said, the motivation of it. So as Detroit small businesses have opportunities to reach out across the region, across the nation, and even internationally, what impact does that have on Detroit?
It has a lot of impact because those tax dollars still come back to the city of Detroit, which allows us to keep investing right back into them. So some of the tax dollars, what they don't know, that help fix our roads. That also helps fix some of the programmings that we are. It goes towards that, like workforce development programs. So it really, really helps reshape how Detroit is looked. And you know what? It also changes the viewpoint that Detroit has no talent.
Okay, and you spoke like about the Detroit world of Detroit world. Now let's go into the business world. What impact does that have on Detroit's business world? What changes and what new opportunities come? Because you've seen this happen as larger scale opportunities come for some small Detroit businesses.
So what happens is it helps change the trajectory, not only for their businesses, but also change the trajectory of their livelihood, meaning they're able to support their families much better. It's starting to open up where they can afford better school systems for their children, right? And they reinvest back in the city that typically invests into them. So you may have heard, like at the conference today, how Doug is totally giving back to the city in different kind of ways. You may have heard from Detroit Lab Drawer themselves as a small business owner that's still trying to scale, but the resources that they're able to bring and receive through their business, they're putting it back out here to support other individuals. So it's always about giving back and scaling while doing so.
All right, and Mr. Paul Jones, he actually coined a phrase, and I changed it around a little bit. And he was like, oh, man, they always talk about Detroit hustles harder. We may need to make it Detroit scales better. I'm going to name it hashtag Detroit scales up. Detroit scales up. So when we talk about scaling up, what have been some of the, I guess, barriers of entry that some of the small businesses have had that you saw in your position that led you to say, okay, let's clear the deck. Let's do something like this to happen so that these organizations will be not only wowed by what Detroit has to offer, but want more and more.
So there's issues with credit, the relationship piece. They don't have the relationships to be able to scale up. Then there's also systematic racism that's keeping them from being able to have that access. So what I've been able to do is leverage other relationships to be able to open up some of those doors for at least the conversations. And just like in business, you get a one yes and may get 20, 30 no's. But that one yes, you maximize it to its full capacity. And with being able to maximize it, it allows others to come in. And now you can recreate that ticket you were originally saying, I can do this for this. Like, no. Now I'm on a different scale. This is what I need from you now. So you'll begin to see the shift where you'll have a lot more buyers willing to work with our suppliers from a sense of having other entities that are not within the state wanting to now work with them. When they're starting to see that, that means it's going to create a gap of suppliers in those different sectors. But it's also going to make them get on their P's and Q's and figure out ways how to really support them by having contracting opportunities. So like in order to be able to scale that, the business development side, the opportunity side, you still have suppliers and business owners, entrepreneurs that does not have the capacity from a staffing standpoint. And so with trying to really attract those additional staff members, because, as we know, a lot of people don't want to work right now because of the pandemic. But what we've been finding is that you have people that do want to work. They just need the opportunity. Sometimes it may not necessarily be in the field that you want to work in. every opportunity may not be for you, but every opportunity is worth taking a look at, because you never know what that opportunity can lead you to. So when it comes to scaling, forget the barriers, the systematic racism, the not access to capital that many likes to say. It's not even just about the capital piece, because if you pay my invoices on time, meaning not 180 days later, I can be able to use that money and pay my employees. So change it from 180, 90, 60, 30 days to maybe 14 days. They do the work, they get paid, they're allowed to continue to keep their staff. So you'll see a lot of different barriers. It's not just, on the small business side, but it has to do with a lot on the buying entity side. I've seen it all, where businesses meet every requirement and they still don't get in.